3 Tempo Storm players on the top KDAs. That's got to be nice for them.
That's pretty good. I want to see what it is after today. Dignitas had a little bit of a tough series against Team Liquid. Coming into the day, Zelia was like 28.5. It was ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous.
At one point, Jungha was 48.
Yeah.
I have never in my life seen it. And that was after 3 weeks. Yeah, so it's not like it was a fluke. He had died once in 3 weeks. It's ridiculous. Oh, we're ready for Game 4.
I'm ready for Game 4.
I'm ready for Game 4. It's going to be on
My
Tomb.
favorite battleground here. Team Freedom 1-1 on this map currently. We'll look over at SpaceStation. 0-2 so far. Gilly, when you introduced SpaceStation today, you talked about how many players they use per kill, which they're #1 in North America. They like to swarm. They like to gank. On this battleground, they average 4.78. That is an incredibly high number. When you look at this battleground, it's normally higher on Tomb because smaller, but it is incredibly high, the participation that they have as a team to confirm those kills.
They like to swarm, and they like the swarm on this map. Because the last time they played Team of the Spider Queen, we got not only the Equinox Tracer, which I don't think we're going to see here since we've kind of stabilized into the roles that we're at. Tracer's not a tank yet. But they also like Zagara. We had a Zagara solo supporting for Jason, though Nidus value questionable.
Questionable. I mean, there's certain ways you can use it, certain ways you can't use it, and it was countered really well. I mean, it had some early value post level 10, but as the game wore on, wasn't quite there. We actually, I think you and I were wondering if we would see a Devouring Maul. We didn't get that. So Nidus was the pickup. We'll see what we get from Tomb of the Spider Queen. We've seen Kerrigan run rampant on Dragonshire throughout North America and have a pretty good success rate. If they were to get a little bit crazy again.
Has Freedom played any Kerrigan? I don't think so.
Nope.
And Equinox, I'm guessing that Casanova wouldn't mind jumping back over to the melee assassin role. But I think if SpaceStation picked Kerrigan and Equinox didn't get to play with her, he would be a pretty sad non-Kerrigan player. Because she is his favorite.
By far.
ETC ban for Team Freedom. That has been every game. ETC ban, Tyrael first pick.
See if the trend continues here. SpaceStation spending a bit more time. They've banned out Abathur twice.
Ooh.
Will Team Freedom be willing to go into a Nubrak themselves?
That's
or
what
do
I
we
was
get
wondering.
a Hanzo? Genji.
At least if you give the Anubarak to SpaceStation, it's not Anub plus Genji. Greymane's still there. He still goes pretty well with the dive, but it's not the Anub Genji that plagued Team Freedom in the first 2 games of the series.
Just the fact that Hanzo's made it through 2 of our drafts completely is a bit surprising to me, especially given how much Lutano's played Hanzo. But on the other side, we haven't seen a lot of Hanzo.
No.
2 games for Jay Shrite, 2 games for Casanova coming into this week.
Yeah, when we watched SpaceStation versus Gale Force last weekend, it was kind of like, we're good. We're good. More Greymane, a lot more Greymane focus, and then some Genji too. Genji Malthael Uther, that's a pretty scary set of heroes now that Team Freedom has.
I mean, Team Freedom had to fight back. And last game, they ran the Abathur with the Genji, and they dove all over that back line. This gives you the same type of potential. The Nubrak, though, does have the Cocoon to deal with the potential Uther, to deal with the potential Malthael. If SpaceStation was going to go double backline, as we saw Lunara earlier, Lunara setting it up, Greymane finishing, could work. I don't know if we'll see that out of SpaceStation. I wonder if we'll get a little bit more mage play. We've had Gul'dan twice, but this could open the door for a potential Jaina, potential Kael'thas even, given that it's Tomb of the Spider Queen.
SpaceStation forcing a little bit of flexing to Zugrug. With ETC Tyrael, they'll switch over to Johanna. Banned there.
Gul'dan banned.
I think it's possible you could still see the Jaina. Later on gets Ice Block, trying to deal with any dive coming her way.
Kel'Thas, though, Mana Addict, that shield is hefty on this map.
Yeah.
It is hefty.
Wave clear. Has the follow-up CC for a new Barak. Gets those globes really quickly. Has Shrita played it?
The
Kel'Thas?
No. He's played Li Ming, Jaina, and Gul'dan when it comes to mages.
Support for Tomster is Malfurion.
Could be the Innervate to go along with the mage and see if we get it here.
It seems likely. Could be solo here and then leave the mage till the end. Nah, Jaina.
Just go with it. So with Jason, obviously Dahaka's still up, but this isn't necessarily the Dahaka battleground. I wonder if we might get a potential Ragnaros. Like something to just kind of control the battleground, leave things there. I think Arthas would be probably where we'll see him. Leoric a possibility. Looking at his hero pool, it's all over the place, right, with this team. But I think it's going to come down between Arthas, Leoric, potentially a Ragnaros. He hasn't played it yet. Outside shot Sonya.
Yeah, he was playing Sonya a bit more. There's no Tassadar shielding to help kind of get to those late stages, but does have the Jaina pairing for a lot of slows, the roots for grouping, Muradin for Zugrug, and there's a Tassadar on the other side. That's the last time we saw a curious Tassadar pick from Team Freedom, they proved us way wrong, so I'm not even going to say anything. That's just, there's a Tassadar.
Yeah, and it comes down to it being Tomb of the Spider Queen. Tassadar actually has really good wave clear, especially once he completes his level 1 talent.
Right.
And then it becomes really strong late game, especially with Psionic Echo. So you don't necessarily miss out in terms of wave clear. Uther, Murd, and Genji don't exactly have a great amount of wave clear. When you look at the other side, however, between Greymane, Jaina, and Malfurion, and Anub'arak all there, that's where you can see the differences in wave clear. So it's up to SpaceStation to force the rotations early and try and take advantage of some of that, and then potentially rotate maybe to the bot lane where they'll have a Blaze.
Nice. First Jason Blaze of HGC. Very excited to see how that will work out. Blaze versus Malthael in the bottom lane. Genji to rotate in, help out Malthael with that Blaze. A lot of fast rotations there, maybe Tassadar, but I think Tassadar is going to be busy trying to rotate out, make sure that he's keeping up with the wave clear of the Jaina. With Jaina, Malfurion, and Anub'arak, that sets up SpaceStation pretty well to try to get those early picks, get the control over the turn-in points, and try to get the first turn in.
Yeah, I think the hardest part when you have a Jaina-style composition like they have, you can dive in with Greymane and Anub'arak. It's just a matter of getting out, and Malfurion doesn't have the burst heal. So if they're going to play this style, clear mid, clear top, force these rotations out, and then use your 4-man, try and get that 5-man gank where they know they like to do. Rotate to the bottom lane, give some help to Blaze, control the entire battleground with the Jaina wave clear.
Man, it's shaping up to be another really good one. Do you give the edge to either team based on the drafts?
If Freedom can execute their team fights the same way they did last game, it wasn't flawless, right? But there was stellar play by Tomster on Alex Straza. That's not in the game this time. If they can execute similarly, I'd say Team Freedom could take it.
All right, taking us to a game 5 if they do so. As we go back in to the game, this time on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Everything about this. Shrite back on Jaina. Feels familiar. Casanova on Greymane. If they can let these two players just kind of take control, be in a really good spot.
That's a great point that you make, because before we would see these incredible plays from the backline of SpaceStation. Casanova playing Greymane. Even the Genji that he played earlier in this series. And then Jay Shrita on usually Jaina, but a lot of different things. But it was the synergy between frontline, backline that we were lacking. And that's what seems to really be taking shape for SpaceStation in these last couple of series. Even though they changed some things up, they tried some different roles, they realized that it would be undoing a lot of the work that they had gone into with this setup, but now they got the roots, they're catching Zugrug. That was nicely done.
Nicely done indeed. The Genji positioning in the bottom is actually really fun.
Yeah, that's a long rotation down to the bottom lane. That's a journey. He swift strikes out.
The jukes. Well, that definitely disrupts the rotations early game. And it actually forced SpaceStation and dictated the rotations from SpaceStation.
He pulled several of the people who were going up to top, then the mid, all the way down to the bottom. They're going to do that again, too.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good style. They're actually using a different 1-4 split. They can try and use the double soak with Shrite on Jaina because she can do that. The problem with that is that Jaina becomes very susceptible to the counter dive. And when you look at Uther, Genji diving onto that, that's a really scary prospect.
Yeah, there's so much stun lock for the follow-up damage of Genji, too. So Shrita has to play safe. He's going to join back up with the rest of SpaceStation here in the mid lane, as Team Freedom continues to be as disruptive as humanly possible with all of those rotations.
That's going to be a fun one, Gilly. Anubarak, if you land your burrow charge, stun. Impale, stun. Blaze coming in, stun. This is where SpaceStation excels. If they can get that lockdown plus a root, any type of Jaina or Greymane damage, that right there, they were a hair away from executing that.
If you're in the Blizzard, you are not going to be having a fun time, because I guarantee if SpaceStation's on point, you are going to take every single one of those crashes of the Blizzard. SpaceStation getting back to business now that they have dealt with the bottom lane and with the Genji there, as they are hoping to return to form with the mid-top rotations.
The amount of CC and slows between the oil, between the Jaina slow, between the stuns, this is a CC-heavy team. I wonder, we've seen a lot of cleanse, touch of the touch for Uther. Is there a chance we might see Guardian just to deal with potential multiple stuns coming in?
Yeah, you're looking at stuns, roots, silences. There's the jet propulsion. Shrita's gonna die here.
That's the problem with using that 1-4 rotation. Jaina is the most susceptible person outside of a Malfurion.
There might be Guardian of Ancient Kings, especially with the silence too of Tomster. That's when you used to see it a lot, because it was Malfurion versus Uther constantly when we were looking at last year's mid-season brawl. So that's entirely possible.
I like the fact that Jaina is willing to say, look, I expect people to dive on me. I'm going to stay really far back. I'm actually going to go Q-build at level 1 so I get the extra range. Not going into that extra percent base damage once you finish that Fingers of Frost.
Yeah, they have the damage. They have a Jaina and they have a Greymane, so it's all down to what is going to make her most survivable. These body blocks are just going to end up killing Uther as SpaceStation find their first kill in this game. Team's ramping up the gems, starting to get into a place where they can turn in. Uther was giving some vision to that with his ghost. Now that's gone, SpaceStation going to start trying to get some turn-ins of gems, though Freedom is on the way. They're closer to being able to get that first Webweaver phase.
Sugro, he's trying to interrupt. Genji is able to disrupt Equinox. There's one more charge there, and then I'll try and get some auto attacks in. So definitely a problem is Genji poking around there.
7 here for SpaceStation, 31-36, really close on who gets that first turn in. SpaceStation, though, they're getting aggro. They have the jet propulsion, Casanova dove forward, even have the roots there just in case to catch him as he was on the retreat. Another kill for SpaceStation makes it, it's opening the door a little bit more for a turn in, though Team Freedom trying their best to stop that turn in. Going everywhere they can. We saw Yoda trying to sneak up maybe to the top to get that. Malthael's back. Equinox turns in 5 more gems.
Here we go. Now we'll get our first Webweaver waves. Shrite and team will clear up the minions, try and get as much push as they can with this first Webweaver phase.
Yeah, it's all about pushing out the waves. Nobody really has put a lot of emphasis into the mercenary camps yet. It's been all about trying to get the lane control away. For Team Freedom, it's about trying to slow things down for SpaceStation, pull some of those resources down to the bottom. For SpaceStation, it's been a lot more about letting Shrita do his thing, using the blizzards, clearing out the waves mid-top, and just holding on with Blaze in the bottom. But once SpaceStation started getting aggressive, that's where things started opening up a little bit more for them. And now they have Webweavers charging onto this mid-fort as Freedom clear out this top.
And, you know, that right there, the indication middle, was just the amount of push that the lanes have gotten from those clears have allowed for the web weavers to get more value than you would traditionally see. I don't think they can necessarily take down multiple forts, but getting down one fort, as well as some of those front wall structures, they're really close to 10. So as they rotate down here, they can probably get 10 off this and then force that bottom fort. And that's what the wave clear alone has afforded them thus far.
That rotation was pretty aggro for not having 10. Zagrug hoping that he could keep Casanova there until Lutano could come in. But not getting that, SpaceStation just go bot, take out this tower, and we'll be able to get 10. We're looking at 35 gems out of 55 needed for a secondary turn-in. With the levels amount of time, we'll see how long SpaceStation can stall out Team Freedom from getting a turn-in. Whether Team Freedom even wants to move out here at all, knowing that it's going to be some time for SpaceStation to get those gems, and Team Freedom don't want to get a turn-in, don't want to get caught out without heroics, and then want to make sure they have them for that turn-in.
Yeah, I'm trying to get used to this Blaze. I mean, we didn't have him the first week he was available here in North America. But I'm thinking about Tormented Souls, Cocoon, Dragon Blade, Cocoon, one or the other. And then you just put down the bunker and everybody just kind of hides. Like, there's actually really effective ways of dealing with this with SpaceStation's draft. So it'll be something that'll be particularly interesting to watch as we move forward here.
Yeah, and the interplay between getting the armor from that, but then, of course, percent damage, being able to just ignore that. It's cool. It'll be interesting to see how that works out, especially with so much area damage, so much area focus from Team Freedom. We've got Malthael with the Tormented Souls, you've got Dragon Blade from Genji, and then of course the splash damage that you're gonna get out of Archon, and just the normal psionic storms. Now we've got, go ahead.
Shrite's contemplating Ring.
He does like that. He likes his Ring of Frost.
It's the cooler one. Although they found Nasmus with the Water Elemental.
Now that's going to slow that down. Blizzard 2 for the slows. They've still, this is just, I really hope that we see Executioner because that was a ridiculous amount of slows. Bunker will be used, giving Blaze some more time to get out of there, soak up the shots from the fort, give him the armor, run on out.
Short cooldown, why not? Things working out here for SpaceStation early. 3 kills to 1, have themselves a level lead. Got their first Web Weaver push, and now they have enough gems for their second, and with Malthael going down, they're going to get that. Team Freedom in response is going to grab their Night Camp to help defend against that Web Weaver push.
They'll have that very soon for that mid defense, which will help, as that is where the fort's down, but I think SpaceStation will be setting their eyes on the rest of the forts. Just depending how they can get the waves pushed out, what becomes vulnerable. We already know that bottom lane is pretty open thanks to the fort dive from that, and Jason using his oil spill, igniting that up so that he can clear out the minion waves, but Yoda's doing his best to keep that pushed against him. It looks like top.
Yeah, they've got their eyes set on the top lane here, does SpaceStation Gaming. And they're really trying to push towards 13 with this. So Team Freedom has an opportunity to maybe try and take a fight pre-13 as it stands. Seems like 13 will be here much quicker than they would like.
SpaceStation make a quick rotation to the mid to clear out the bruisers. Seeing Genji up to the top, has been able to take that Web Weaver down to about half health before SpaceStation shows back up. 13 on the horizon for SpaceStation, and what they do after with that 13 is up to them, especially since it took so many gems, really all of their gems in order to get this turn in. Looking at what we've got, we're about halfway through the Jaina quest to get improved ice block. Same halfway through the stacks of storm bolts. So you get the cooldown reduction from that.
That's a lot of value. I'd like to see SpaceStation, it looks like they're heading down towards the bot lane, maybe look to take that fort. It's the rotation by Team Freedom, they recognize that. Jaina has to be really, she is alone, and Nasmus is chilling. Murden not too far away. He never went to check. Interesting.
Double camp. Shrita got it.
I'm surprised he didn't even just like right click over there, maybe see if an ability was being cast. Maybe he did see it and he just didn't want to be there.
Did you think more were off maybe? Either way, this is going to buy some time for SpaceStation.
For Team Freedom, though, they're close to 13. They don't want to try and force a turn in. They don't want to force their way out. They just need to clear out the lanes, They're going to do that here. They might give up the fort in the process, but they can clear out the lanes, defend the push, move out once they get 13, and then try and take control of the game and get a turn in.
Jaina spotted rotating in for the rest of SpaceStation as Equinox keeping guard. I think this is awesome to see from SpaceStation. I remember a Tomb game that we saw from them maybe in week 2 where it was versus Heroes Hearth, and they ended up giving in a turn-in because they were kind of just making rotations around. They got pulled just slightly too far apart, and Heroes Hearth got a turn-in that ended up negating everything that SpaceStation had done. SpaceStation were in a very similar situation. They were ahead. And so you can see SpaceStation has, it feels like their communication has been way more on point with the team, so that they've been able to make sure that they're keeping track of everything that's happening. They're giving all the information that they need, and they're gonna go in for this boss. It's going down pretty fast. The red web weavers will be going up. Team Freedom has a chance of trying to contest this, but they do not. The zoning water elemental and people not quite being able to rotate in time.
You see teams do this from time to time. They're not close enough to 16 to continue to defend. They don't have a Johanna and a Tassadar. They don't have the poke style heroes, and Ubrak did as best he could. But it allows you to counter push one of the lanes with the boss, then it allows you to easily clear that up and then get towards 16 by way of the boss. And it keeps Team Freedom at bay and their web weavers. So it buys them time, it gets them 16. That's actually a really good play. Yeah. A lot of teams have trouble executing, but SpaceStation has done it really well here.
Yeah, they immediately went mid, then went bot, then they can clear out the web weaver up in the top lane, and that's just enough time for them to get 16. Where they're at in gems, they're still a little ways off before they're gonna have a turn-in of their own, but they have time to get to it because of that 2-level lead.
They've got it. See what they can do with it. Lutano, they're pinging. Lutano's going to check the rotations, gets the dismount there onto Jason. 16 was picked up for SpaceStation.
16's there, and it's Executioner. Numbing Blast 2 for additional lockdown.
Get the slow, the lockdown, Executioner, the percentage reduction on the armor.
Yeah, anyone can give him that proc, which is awesome. Anyone else from his team, I mean.
It's like you poke the bear and you just hope the bear doesn't bite back.
What was cool from SpaceStation is that they sent more people up, but not in a way of blocking, as in a way to say, all right, if you're going to stay here, we'll root you, we'll catch you, we'll slow you, we'll kill you. Tana goes down to the bottom instead.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, that's how it works with this comp. Could have even tried for a cocoon play from there too. If Equinox really wanted that kill, they're testing the waters.
Oh, Jason's like, oh, you're diving in. I'm going in. Collusion very low already to start this fight, Gilly.
Yeah, he is just out of there. And a Twilight Dream to follow up now too. SpaceStation looking really good in this fight, although the Dragon Blade chain is going to go down. But they pay so much for that Jaina kill as they have lost 3. The chase is real as Yoda goes for the jukes. So far made it. Dimensional Shift is gone. Was seeing where he could go from that pathing. No fun for Yoda. 52 gems fall to the tomb of the Spider Queen floor.
They were sitting on 100 when that started, Gilly. They were sitting on 100 gems. Now, for SpaceStation, they have enough for a turn-in. They're also going to turn their eye towards the siege camp at the bottom. As we see, Jason, they dove on him, and he's like, oh, you want to dive? I'll show you how to dive.
And that play, really well done with the bunker. You could see people going in and out using all of the armor that they get from that. They have the Twilight Dream, but it was just, the Cursed Bullet was phenomenal. They killed Uther right off the bat, then Twilight Dream after that. A lot had already been used from that point. This hurts. That felt bad, man. He tried to juke as best he could to keep a hold of so many gems, but the team willing to chase him down, knowing that if they could get that kill, Dimensional Shift was already out, didn't have Archon, so we couldn't go into that for a second one. They're going to be able to waste a lot of gems and set Team Freedom even farther behind in this game.
SpaceStation needs to look for a keep here. This is a power play for them because 16 will be obtained by Freedom soon. They don't have enough gems for a long time to get another turn in. And outside of a team fight, they have to defend against the potential Web Weaver phase, have a team fight. So it's up to them to take a keep, look for more. They had siege giants pushing bottom. So they've got their eyes turned here in the middle. Things are looking good so far.
You know what's been amazing is every time we have said that this series, SpaceStation needs to do X. SpaceStation does X. They have had a great understanding of what they need to do at each point in these games in order to make sure that they further a lead or they get back in a game when they're behind. It's been very refreshing to see from SpaceStation. That's the kind of shot calling that we've come to expect from this team. Tormented Souls as Team Freedom hits 16. SpaceStation used that bunker. Just withstand, they just hold. They're gonna keep up the siege for now on this bottom lane.
They see Genji on the top on the mini-map. They get that. That gets them a bit more experience towards 20. They can't stay for long because Team Freedom, this is about as fair of a fight as they're going to get for a while. They're poking. They're being safe. Tormented Souls is down, meaning Dragon Blade is out. And the fact that they have Cocoon available still works in their favor. Team Freedom starting to put the pressure on.
Yeah, as long as there's Cocoon, as long as there's Twilight Dream, and you can see Tom's just checking out. The Cursed Bullet went out, and Zucker's getting fairly low. Equinox seems to be the target for the team as the Dragon Blade's been used. Blaze drops down the bunker to help save the team, but it's a little ways behind there as the Twilight Dream went out. As Jason came back through, he had the stun again with the jet propulsion. And Malthael, Murnan were blown up very quickly as Jason charges forward. He's got the slow with the adhesive petroleum. They'll take out another. They take down Uther.
They're going for game.
This is it.
They're going for game. They're going mid. They're going for game. 3 people are down. Only Genji and Tassadar to defend. Tassadar is going to have to shield this, but Yoda is under assault. They get the stun on him. They get the follow-up stun. That's going to be Tassadar going down. And just like that, SpaceStation is looking to close this out in a 3-1 upset.
SpaceStation has 11 kills to 2. There is very little that Lutano can do here to take out this force. This 5-man force of SpaceStation on the core as it falls to 10% and keeps going down. SpaceStation Gaming just had an upset over Team Freedom, the only team undefeated in NA HGC till now.
A surprise victory for that team right there. That is first place team versus last place team. There's no other way to put it. Coming into today, that's exactly what it was. In SpaceStation, we complimented them a lot in the Tempo series despite them getting 3-0. But it seemed like they were on the right page, right? And so, or did they 3-0, 3-1, either way. The fact that they started to come together and the fact that they didn't lose faith, and then they come in this weekend and upset the #1 team in North America. That is a far cry from where we saw them when they were like, all right, we better reshuffle and roll swap. But they've come in today and just flipped the script.
I am so glad that we saw SpaceStation go back to the roles that they had been playing. It can be hard to have those kinds of defeats, those kinds of losses, to go for that long, that many weeks after so much practice, and not be able to see the effects immediately. And you can wonder, this isn't working, we have to do something else. It was a risky move to go back to the roles, to say, guys, what we are doing, we're so close. We can do this. And I interviewed Equinox, and he did seem pretty down about where things had been up to this point for SpaceStation. There was a lot of hype behind the team with Jay Shritta coming on, you know, the role swap there that they had. And it's very refreshing to see this team be able to finally come in and get a win, and such a big win at that.
I think the thing that the name that you can use there, the word you can use it, is team. The #1 stat that they came in is most players per kill. That game right there was ultimate team effort. And the amount of CC that they had to deal with on the side of Team Freedom, they were overwhelmed by it at times. And that's what SpaceStation does. And using the Jaina combination and the Anubarak, they went undefeated with Anubarak today. The only game they lost was when they didn't have Anubarak. That is what this team seems to be thriving on, is that dive composition, follow-up CC. Equinox is finding a way to be on an aggressive hero, a high-impact hero, without over-committing, and his team's following, and it seems to be working together.
And a lot of the follow-up falls on Casanova himself. Let's check in with Casanova now, as he has such a huge victory over Team Freedom. Casa, how is the feeling for you, for your team, after that huge victory?
I mean, it feels good for sure. We really feel like we've been playing, I mean, honestly, terribly for the past few weeks. So, getting a win is really big for us here, especially against Freedom. I mean, we put them as the #1 team. I know on standings they're #1, but we also do feel that they are the best team in the league right now. So the fact that we can just come in here and take a set off them, which could have even been a 3-0, that was a really close Infernal Shrines game. Really great play from the both sides on that game.
It was an awesome game. It was an awesome series. To what do you attribute being able to get a win over a team that you guys value as highly as Team Freedom then?
I have no idea. I think it's just, when you get to the point where you just have, nothing left to lose. You're losing every match. You're just trying to get better, and nothing seems to be working. I mean, you really just put it all on the line, and I think that's what we did. I mean, forget how to shave, forget how to, groom yourself. Just, just play the game and get better until you can win. And that's what we got to do. And it looks like it worked out this week.
Yeah, it did. The extra focus on game playing above all else seems to have worked out for you guys. Jay, you have questions for Casa?
I mean, after the McIntyre interview earlier, apparently everybody's going to grow the stash nowadays. Casanova, going into last weekend, I said the best thing for you guys to do was to settle into roles and to continue doing what you were doing and limit the hero pools. And then you guys busted out the role swaps. How soon after that did you guys realize you needed to focus on that? Because it looks like you guys have limited the hero pools. What was the turning point that you guys said, look, let's go back to what we were doing and focus? What was the turning point? What was that like for you guys?
Well, I mean, the role swap versus what was it, GFE? I mean, that was just a mistake. Like, we shouldn't have done that. Like, we understand that at this point. Like, after we did it, we're like, yeah, I mean, we're just wrong. Like, that shouldn't be something we should do. We need to stick to our guns. And like you said, I mean, we had like a massive amount of different heroes played, so tried to consolidate and make sure that we're playing stuff that we know we can win on. And like I said, I mean, it seems to work out this week. We're hoping we can continue this throughout the rest of the season.
You guys seem to have this swarm mentality where you guys average, for us, we see it, you guys average the highest players per kill, which means that you guys have the most involvement rate from all 5 of your members. Does that seem like the strategy that you guys like to have, is to have that heavy CC train that you guys like to run? Is that something that you guys are favoring? You guys had good macro play today as well, but what would you say is your strength so far revolving around that statistic?
Well, I think that's just kind of how Heroes of the Storm should work. I know a lot of times, like, you'll see the statistics and they do matter, but a lot of the time it's just teams that are beating teams that are worse than them, or other players' mistakes cause those like 4-man kills, or not full team participation kills. A lot of time happen because of misplays. And realistically, the way Heroes should work is, like, if you have a global, you shouldn't be like taking fights 4v5 and losing people. Like, if you're gonna find a kill, you're gonna bring everybody and you're gonna make sure you secure that. So I mean, that's how I see it. I think, yeah, the swarm mentality really does work for us. We really enjoy playing that style. So yeah, I mean, of course it does. Yeah.
I'd say it definitely stood out, especially Jason's play today. So props to that guy. Props to your entire team, and congratulations on the big victory today.
Yeah, thank you so much, yeah.
Casanova, your next series is next weekend, and you're going right up against Team 12. Any thoughts on that matchup?
Well, I think so. We think Freedom's the best team in the league. So realistically, we should be able to upset Team 12, but it's still an upset if we beat them. They're a really strong team. We're not going to go in expecting to win the game. We're going to go in trying to do our very best, just like this week. And if we come away with a victory, I mean, that's great. That's awesome. Moving in, it gives us a better record moving into the second half. We saw them fall to Heroes Hearth, who we think has been improving exceptionally. Mm-hmm. They look great. So maybe, Team 12 is human and we can take them down as well.
Well, Casanova, congratulations. I hope that victory gives you some more motivation, momentum going forward into that final series. And now's your time for shoutouts.
Yeah, of course. Shout out to the whole team. Everyone really showed up today. I'm really proud of everybody. Jason, Jay, Tomster, Equinox, really, really great play, guys. Shout out to our manager, Chrissy Flower. Shout out to SpaceStation, HyperX, B&H Photo, Mainframe, and shout outs to, Max Pookie and Sean Duras for sticking with us even through thick and thin. We love those guys at SpaceStation. So, yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Casa. Congrats again. Gotta be relieving. And not even, it's relieving when you get a win, but then you beat the team you feel is the best in the league. There's a step past relieving. I'm not sure what that is, but that's what they've got.
They've probably got a lot of confidence going forward now, too.
That's a good word for it.
Knowing that you can do this. You knew in your mind that you should be able to do this. But as you heard him say, it's a matter of cutting down on the misplays, things like that, and working together as a team. And I think it seems to be working out for them. Again, the fact that they've narrowed their hero pool, literally playing 47 different heroes in 15 games, is insane when it comes to Heroes of the Storm when you talk about hero pools. They've all of a sudden narrowed it down, had a good series, not a success against Tempo Storm, but it looked positive. They take a week, practice, continue, and keep up with it, and here they go and take down the #1 team. This is what you like to see from this team.
Yep, hard work paying off. That's what I like to see from every team in the HGC. we've got so many more games to go this weekend, and I'll be honest, I don't even know what the numbers crunched anymore have to do. We're going to have to do some crunching before we get back to you about qualification and all that, though I do know that if Freedom beats Team 12 tomorrow, they would still qualify. Fnatic versus Team Dignitas. I've been waiting such a long time for this series. Can anyone take a series off of Team Dignitas? If anyone could, it would be Fnatic. Then Leftovers take on Team Method. We'll see if Leftovers can get their first series win in HGC. In NA, another series we've been pumped to see, and no doubt meaning more for Team Freedom after losing to SpaceStation as they take on Team 12. And finally, LFM Esports versus Tempo Storm. That's Tempo's qualification match just as much as Team Freedom versus Team 12.
Tomorrow's schedule is crazy.
Loaded.
It is absolutely loaded. I mean, you can get past the 2 series that you have that's kind of bookmarked there at the beginning of EU and the beginning of North America. Even Method has been coming on. Leftovers. There are so many things that are going for all these teams, but I'd say Fnatic, Dignitas, Team Freedom, Team 12, probably a little bit higher priority for some people to watch tomorrow.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to beat those ones. They look pretty good, but they're all looking awesome. And that's just part of, man, HGC and EU and North America. We have definitely leveled up with the teams, and it's been awesome to see. It's been awesome to hang out with you today, Jay How. You guys at home at 2. We'll see you tomorrow for more Heroes action. Have a good night.